A loss does not destroy most traders. What destroys them is what happens next. The stop has already been hit. The red candle is already printed. The trade is over. Nothing about that moment can be changed anymore. But inside the trader, the fight is just beginning. The market may be finished with the trade, but the trader is not finished with the emotion. That is where the day becomes dangerous. Every trader knows this silence after a loss. The screen is still open. The mouse is still under your hand. Price keeps moving as if nothing happened, but your body reacts like something personal just took place. Your heart is faster. Your face is tighter. Your mind starts looking for one more chance. You tell yourself you are only watching, but part of you is already preparing to click. Then price moves again. Maybe it goes in the direction you want it. Maybe it looks like the market stopped you out right before the real move. This is one of the hardest moments in trading, because now the pain has a story. You were right, but too early. The market tricked you. You only need one more entry. It sounds reasonable, but often it is pain wearing the mask of logic. This is the chain. Loss becomes pain. Pain becomes urgency. Urgency becomes revenge. The problem is that revenge rarely looks like revenge in the moment. It feels like fixing the mistake, taking control back, and refusing to let the market win. But if the next decision is driven by the need to remove pain, then the chart is no longer leading. Emotion is. After a loss, there are always two paths. One says, get it back now, click again, increase the size, prove you were right, end the day, green. The other path is quieter. It says, stop for a moment. Do not let one trade decide the rest of your day. Most traders know which path is better, but after a loss, knowledge is not enough. You need a method that works while emotion is still active. A planned loss is not a disaster. It is the cost of doing business in an uncertain market. If the setup was valid, the risk was controlled, and the stop was respected, then the loss belongs to the process. It is uncomfortable, but it is clean. The danger begins when the trader treats a clean loss like an insult that must be answered immediately. The most dangerous trade of the day is often the trade after the loss. It may look like a normal entry on the outside, but inside it carries frustration, impatience, and a hidden need to be right. The trader may still talk about structure, levels, and confirmation, but the real reason is quieter. He wants to feel okay again. This is how one loss becomes a losing day. First, there's a small mistake, then discomfort, then one more trade to remove it, then another. By the end, the damage is no longer about the first loss. The first loss was only the trigger. The real damage came from the chain of decisions that followed it. The phrase, get it back, is dangerous because it changes the goal. You stop asking, is this my setup? You start asking, can this trade repair how I feel? And when trading becomes emotional repair, discipline becomes weak. You are no longer trading the opportunity in front of you. You are trading the trade that already ended. Sometimes the trader increases size, not because the opportunity is better, but because the loss feels too slow to recover. He wants speed, closure, and the account to look clean again. But the market does not care about emotional closure. It does not know you are frustrated or that you want to end green. It only exposes the weakness in rushed decisions. This is the warning. After a loss, your next decision deserves more protection than usual. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. Loss touches ego. Ego creates pressure. Pressure wants action. And action without clarity is where many trading days break. The method is not there to make you fearless. It is there to protect you before pressure becomes another click. This is where stoicism fits trading. Not as decoration, not as a quote on the wall, but as a practical question in a difficult moment. The Stoics understood that we suffer most when we fight what is already outside our control. A trader after a loss is facing exactly that problem. He is trying to change what already happened instead of controlling what still belongs to him. After a loss, you cannot control the candle that hit your stop, the price that moved after you exited, or whether the market made you look wrong for a few minutes. That part is gone. It belongs to the past. And if your mind keeps living there, your next trade will be infected by something you can no longer change. But something is still yours. Your next action, your next click, your next breath, your decision to pause or react. This is the center of the method. You do not try to control the loss after it happens. You control the trader who responds after the loss. That is not philosophy for the sake of philosophy. That is practical survival. So the method begins with one question. What is still under my control? Not, how do I get it back? Not, why did the market do this to me? Not, how can I make this feeling disappear? The Stoic question changes the direction of the mind. It moves attention away from revenge and back toward responsibility. Stoicism does not mean you feel nothing. That is fake. A real trader feels the loss. He may feel frustration, disappointment, even anger, but he does not let the first emotion become the next trade. The goal is not to become a stone. The goal is to create enough space so the first reaction does not become the final decision. Here is the small method. After a loss, you are not allowed to place the next trade immediately. That is the first protection. Stop. Do not click, increase size, or search for instant recovery. Give the emotion time to lose momentum. You are not saying you will never trade again. You are only saying the next trade must not come from the first wave of pain. Second, stand up. This sounds almost too simple, but that is why it works. A bad habit runs in a loop. Loss, pain, hand, click. Standing up breaks the loop. It changes your state before your state makes a decision for you. The goal is not drama. The goal is interruption. One physical action can stop an automatic emotional pattern from continuing. Third, step away from the screen. Not forever, just long enough to stop being hypnotized by the candle in front of you. The chart has gravity after a loss. It pulls your eyes back. It makes the past feel unfinished. But the trade is finished. You are not there to reopen it emotionally. You are there to return to control. Then write one sentence. Did I follow the plan? This is the heart of the method. It is not a long journal or a confession. It is one question that brings you back to reality. It cuts through the noise. It stops the emotional story and asks for the only thing that matters in that moment. Was this a process loss or a behavior loss? If the answer is yes, then the loss is clean. You followed the plan and the outcome was negative. That is trading. You do not need revenge for a clean loss, punishment, or a full system change because one trade failed. You need acceptance, patience, and enough maturity to wait for the next real setup. If the answer is no, then the loss is information, not shame. Maybe you entered too early. Maybe you chased. Maybe you moved the stop. Maybe you traded from boredom. Write the lesson before you even think about another trade. If you skip the lesson and go straight back to the chart, the same behavior is still in control. This is why I call it a reset, not a cure. It will not make you perfect, remove the loss, or guarantee the next trade will win. It simply protects the most dangerous moment, the first decision after pain. A trader does not need a miracle after a loss. He needs a small barrier between emotion and action. The goal is not to avoid every loss. That is impossible. The goal is to stop the spiral, the revenge trade, the rushed entry, the bigger lot size, the need to prove something to the market. One loss is manageable. A spiral is not. And most spirals begin because the trader does nothing to protect the moment after the loss. Two traders can take the same loss and create two different futures. The first trader reacts. He sees the loss as something that must be fixed now. His body is tense. His mind is loud. He wants it to action, because action gives temporary relief. He does not want to wait because waiting makes him feel the loss. So he clicks again, then watches every candle like a personal message. If price moves against him, he feels attacked. If price moves without him, he feels left behind. The more he reacts, the less he can see. The harder he tries to take control, the more control he loses. That is the paradox of revenge trading. It feels powerful while it makes you weaker. The second trader also feels the loss, but he does not obey the first impulse. He stands up. He steps away. He asks the question, did I follow the plan? It looks boring from the outside, but this boring moment may save the rest of his day. He is not trying to win the trade back. He is trying to protect the trader who must make the next decision. Maybe the patient trader still ends the day red. That can happen. But a red day is not the same as a broken day. A red day is part of trading. A broken day is when one loss turns into 10 emotional decisions. The account may show a loss in both cases, but the identity damage is completely different. A controlled loss does not destroy confidence. It may hurt, but it does not create shame, force you to start over, or make you feel like you have lost yourself again. In many ways, a clean red day can build more discipline than a lucky green day, because it proves you can protect yourself when the market does not reward you. One loss does not have to ruin your day. That is the message. Losses matter, but the loss is only one event. The reaction decides whether it becomes a wound, a lesson, or a spiral. The loss is the event. The next action is the choice. The method works because it creates a pause. Without a pause, emotion becomes action. Pain becomes a click, fear moves the stop, FOMO becomes a chase. With a pause, emotion is still present, but now there is space. And inside that space, choice becomes possible. Reaction is fast. It wants relief, ignores tomorrow, and only wants the discomfort to stop now. Response is slower. Response asks, is this aligned with the trader I am trying to become? A trader who reacts after a loss is controlled by pain. A trader who responds after a loss is controlled by process. Sometimes discipline is not dramatic. Sometimes it is simply taking your hand away from the mouse, not entering, not moving the stop, not trying to win the money back immediately. Doing nothing at the right moment can be the strongest decision of the day. To the outside world, it looks like nothing happened. Inside the trader, a chain was broken. Every time you reset after a loss, you build evidence that you can keep control under pressure, that one trade does not own you, and that your next action is still yours. Those small moments become bricks. Over time, they become discipline. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind that keeps you alive. You will lose again. That is not negativity, that is reality. The goal is not to become a trader who never feels pain, but one who can feel pain without handing control to it. A trader who can lose and still remain himself. A trader who does not let the market take more than the trade. The better path is simple. Loss, pause, lesson, growth. Not loss, pain, revenge, regret. The difference may begin with one breath, one step away from the screen, one honest sentence in a notebook. Small but not weak. Because in trading, the small moment after a loss often decides whether the rest of the day stays controlled. You cannot control the loss after it happens, but you can control who you become after it. You can become the trader who chases, reacts, and turns one loss into a ruined day, or the trader who pauses, resets, learns, and protects the next decision. That choice will not make trading easy, but it can keep you in the game long enough to grow. So after your next loss, do not ask immediately, how do I get it back? Ask the stoic question, what is still under my control? Then stand up, step away, and write one sentence. Did I follow the plan? If yes, accept the cost. If no, take the lesson. But do not give the market the power to take your discipline after it has already taken the trade. One loss does not have to ruin your day, and stay patient.